Welcome back to the Fairy Garden Discoveries, where STEM takes flight. Amelia loved the garden for its quiet conversations. She listened to the rustle of leaves, the buzz of bees, the soft creak of stems stretching toward the sun. When something felt off, the garden always told her, if she paid attention. That morning, the garden sounded crowded. Water splashed loudly. Clippers snipped nonstop. Bees zoomed with extra enthusiasm. Amelia hovered above the beds, flute tucked at her side. She murmured. The garden wasn't broken, but it wasn't balanced either. And when a system loses its balance, Amelia knew, even the happiest helpers can cause trouble. The watering worms were very proud of themselves. "Extra water today," they announced, sloshing happily. Nearby, the trimming beetles snipped every leaf that dared to stick out. "Neat is best," they declared. The cheer crickets chirped encouragement at top volume. "Grow! Grow! Grow!" Amelia drifted lower. The soil squelched. The leaves drooped. The flowers looked confused. One sunflower sighed. "I appreciate the enthusiasm," it said, "but I can't breathe." Amelia raised an eyebrow. Everyone was helping. So why did the garden feel worse? By midday, the garden began to respond. Puddles formed. Roots softened. Some plants leaned away from the light. The worms noticed first. "Why isn't anything growing faster?" one asked. The beetles frowned. "We trimmed everything perfectly." The cheer crickets chirped louder. "Maybe it needs more encouragement." Amelia floated between them. "Have you noticed," she asked gently, "that the garden is reacting to what you're doing?" The helpers paused. "Reacting?" The garden rustled uneasily. "That's feedback," Amelia said. "It's how systems talk back." Amelia lifted her flute. She played a slow, steady tune. Not loud, not fast. Just enough. The worms slowed their watering. The beetles lowered their clippers. The cheer crickets hushed to a soft hum. The garden exhaled. Leaves lifted slightly. Water soaked in. Roots settled. "Oh," said a worm. "So, not more?" "Not always," Amelia said. "Balance means knowing when to add and when to stop." The cheer crickets whispered. "That's harder than cheering." Amelia smiled. Amelia gathered the helpers. "Think of the garden like a song," she said. "Each of you is a note." "Louder is better," said a cricket. "Only if everyone isn't loud," Amelia replied. She gestured to the beds. "When one part changes," she explained, "everything else feels it. Too much water drowned roots. Too much trimming stressed stems. Too much cheering startled the bees." The garden rustled in agreement. "So we need to work together?" asked a beetle. "And adjust when the garden responds," Amelia said. The helpers nodded slowly. The system was learning. The helpers sprang into action. "Less water," cried the worms, twisting the spigots shut. "No trimming at all," announced the beetles, tossing their clippers aside. The cheer crickets zipped their mouths closed. Complete silence. Amelia watched carefully. At first, the garden sighed with relief. Then, the soil dried. Leaves tangled. Flowers leaned, unsure which way to grow. A daisy whispered, "I miss a little water." A vine sighed, and maybe one or two snips. The cheer crickets whispered, "This feels too quiet." Amelia nodded. "Balance isn't about stopping," she said. "It's about adjusting." The garden spoke again, more clearly. Dry soil cracked softly. Bees circled, confused. Roots tugged deeper for moisture. The worms wriggled anxiously. "Now we've done too little." The beetles picked up their clippers halfway. "Just one snip?" The cheer crickets practiced a gentle hum. Amelia floated between them. "This is feedback," she said. "The garden is telling you how it feels." So we listen. And change? Asked a beetle. And then listen again, Amelia replied. The helpers blinked. That sounds like work, said a cricket. Amelia smiled. It is the good kind. This time the helpers moved slowly. The worms added water, just a trickle. The beetles trimmed, only the tallest leaves. The cheer crickets hummed, not too loud, not too quiet. The garden responded. Soil softened, leaves lifted, flowers turned toward the sun. Hey, said a worm, it looks happier. And we didn't even try harder, said a beetle. Amelia nodded. That's a feedback loop, she explained. You act. The system responds. You adjust. The cheer crickets giggled. So the garden is coaching us? Yes, Amelia said. If you listen. Then the bees decided to help more. They pollinated everywhere, all at once. Too many blossoms formed, stems strained, plants wobbled under the weight. Oh no, buzzed the bees. Amelia raised her flute, but didn't play. What happened? She asked. The beetles studied the stems. One part worked too hard. The worms nodded. And it affected everything else. Amelia smiled. In systems, she said, no part works alone. The bees buzzed sheepishly. So even helping needs balance. Yes, Amelia said gently. By evening, the helpers moved together. Water when the soil asked, trim when plants stretched too far, buzz and hum in time with the breeze. The garden glowed, not perfect, but steady. Amelia played her flute, soft and slow. The garden swayed. This feels different, said a worm. Like we're part of something bigger, said a beetle. The cheer crickets whispered, less shouting, more listening. Amelia smiled. When a system is balanced, she said, everything supports everything else, and the garden agreed. As dusk settled, the garden grew quieter. Not silent, just calm. Water soaked in instead of pooling. Leaves rested instead of stretching. Bees hummed without rushing. Amelia hovered near the center bed. Notice, she said softly, how the garden isn't shouting anymore. The helpers leaned closer. It doesn't need to, said a daisy. It feels heard. The worms wriggled thoughtfully. So when everything is balanced, one asked, the system stays calm? Amelia nodded. Balance doesn't stop change, she said. It helps change happen gently. The garden glowed in agreement. The next morning, Amelia made one small change. She played her flute just a little faster. The bees sped up. The flowers turned more quickly toward the sun. The worms noticed the soil drying sooner. Oh, said a beetle, that tiny change affected everything. Amelia smiled. In systems, she explained, small changes can ripple outward. The cheer crickets practiced a soft rhythm. So we don't ignore small things. No, Amelia said, we pay attention to them. The garden swayed, responsive and alert. Balance wasn't stillness, it was awareness. By afternoon, the helpers worked as a team. The worms checked the soil before watering. The beetles trimmed only when leaves crowded one another. The cheer crickets matched the breeze. No one rushed ahead. No one stopped completely. The garden responded, again. Roots strengthened. Stems stood taller. Blooms opened at their own pace. This feels right, said a worm. Amelia nodded. When parts of a system listen to each other, she said, the whole system grows stronger. The helpers smiled proudly. They weren't just working hard. They were working together. That evening, a gust of wind scattered leaves everywhere. Oh no, gasped a beetle. Amelia didn't panic. She watched. The worms adjusted watering. The bees waited out the breeze. The plants bent, but didn't break. It's not perfect, whispered a cricket. No system ever is, Amelia said, but balance helps it recover. The garden settled again, stronger than before. Balance isn't about keeping everything the same, Amelia added. It's about responding when things change. The helpers nodded. They were learning. As stars appeared, Amelia played one last tune, slow, steady, balanced. The garden listened. Every part, soil, leaf, wing, root, worked in quiet harmony. The helpers gathered near her. So, asked a worm, what does the garden need most? Amelia smiled. Attention, she said, and care that knows when enough is enough. The garden glowed softly. Too much could overwhelm it. Too little could weaken it. But balance let everything belong. And the garden grew happily ever after.